I am back. What it do, baby?
City boy, city boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And you know we gotta go ahead and do our Monday Night Raw review. Except today, it's more like a Monday morning Raw review, because we had to wake up 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning just so we could watch this nonsense. 2 hours of pure garbage with only one angle worth talking about out of an entire 2 hours. Not impressed, but I will say that the way that the turn was done, the turn that everyone's going to be talking about, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and also Paul Heyman turning on Seth Rollins at the end of the show, this was well executed, and the rest of the show was just filler garbage. So let's go ahead, jump into it. We'll start at the top of the show, work our way down to the bottom, and then we'll talk, towards the end and also in the middle about how I feel about all this shit. So we start off the show with Seth Rollins and The Vision coming out, kicking off with a promo. Now, I already knew I was going to be in for a long fucking morning. When Seth Rollins and The Vision came out, I just didn't know how bad this promo was going to be, all right? Because Seth Rollins, he comes out, right? The crowd is chanting, Seth's a wanker, Seth's a wanker. And then Seth Rollins is like, well, for all you wankers out there. And then the crowd just goes nuts. The crowd goes absolutely bonkers, man, just because he said the word wankers. Like, all right there, bro. And then after this, he starts introducing everybody, right? He introduces Paul Heyman, says that everything that they've done over the last 6 months makes him the undisputed GOAT of what? I don't know what. The undisputed GOAT manager? That would be Bobby Heenan most likely, or Paul Bearer. I give it to one of those guys before I give it to Paul Heyman. But you know, it is what it is. He says that Paul Heyman is the GOAT somehow. And then an audience of grown men are chanting, kiss, 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 to two other grown men standing in the ring. And Seth Rollins obliges, kisses Paul Heyman on the forehead. So I woke up early as fuck this morning before I had to go to work so I could watch this shit, so I could watch two grown men stand in the ring and kiss. Look, man, we're not beating the allegations anytime soon that wrestling is gay. All right, we're just not beating these allegations while Triple H is in charge. There was a lot of homoerotic and shit with like gay undertones under Vince McMahon throughout his 40 years as creative director. Absolutely. Okay. But the shit that we see on these shows on a week-to-week basis, man, we got to watch the New Day coming out in all black spandex and they have their little white boy twink, right? We got Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman kissing in the ring, right? We got fucking just so much gay shit going on. And it's like, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But does it have to be on every single show, man? And just overtly just whatever, man. All right. That's what we're watching early in the morning. All right. But anyway, Seth Rollins, he's doing this shit, right? And then, you know, he turns to Braun Breaker, says Braun Breaker has become everything that he thought he would be, and he's accomplished more in these last 6 months than he thought that he would. And I'm just looking at Braun Breaker's waist, okay? That's all I'm looking at while Seth Rollins is saying all this shit, okay? And the same thing with Bronson Reed, right? Because he's saying, oh, you know, you've done this, you've done that, you're the greatest and all this, you've accomplished so much. And I don't see a title around either of their waists. Not a tag title, not a mid-card title, not a speed championship. These motherfuckers have no gold around their waist. And Seth Rollins is saying, oh, you've done everything that you could do. You've come so far. They've dropped off, right? Their aura points are fucking gone as a result of joining this group with Seth Rollins, being lackeys to Seth Rollins, all right? But that was that, right? The crowd is chanting Bronson Reed, Bronson Reed, and I'm done. All right, I'm completely done with this segment already. Basically, at the end of this segment, Seth Rollins basically says that He doesn't need the vision. All right. He chose the vision and the vision chose him. All right. He's not like Roman Reigns or anybody else. He didn't need anyone else to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He didn't need anyone to win the Crown Jewel Championship, and that they all just chose each other, and we're all just living happily ever after. So that was basically that promo. That took up 20 minutes to start the show, because of course it did. All right. Right after that fucking garbage promo, we run into Penta backstage, who runs into Rusev. Now, I guess last week, Penta got involved in Dominic and Rusev's match, inadvertently kicked him or super kicked him or whatever. So obviously Rusev's mad about that. I guess Penta and Dom are supposed to be having a match tonight. So Rusev says, whoever wins that match, I already talked to Adam Pearce, and he said that I can get a match with the person that wins this match, because there's no storylines here. All right. It's all about matches. All right. Oh, well, y'all have this match next. I'm going to get a match, and then I'm going to have a match, and then we're going to have another match, and then another match, and then another match. That's all this fucking show is, man. All right. And then after Rusev talks shit to Penta for about 2 minutes, Penta just calls him a pendejo, right? And then just does the fucking cero miedo fucking emote, and that's all Penta's good for. Penta is just an emote machine, all right? That's all he's good for. Can't cut a promo. He's not exciting. He's not cool. He's not funny. Nothing. He brings nothing to this product. Don't tell me, oh, he's such a good worker in the ring. We have nothing but good workers, bro. Nothing but good. Everybody can wrestle. Everybody can do flips and dives and jump out of the ring. Everyone can do it. Everyone. All right. Even fucking Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are diving out of the ring from time to time. This is not Penta doing it is not exciting, right? But whatever. After that, we got Dom versus Penta. I didn't care about this match. I skipped all the way through it. Dom won somehow, some way. Don't care. We move on. LA Knight, he cuts a promo next. All right. And this was a decent promo. It did end up getting interrupted by CM Punk. LA Knight's basically just saying, oh, yeah, I got one over on CM Punk. Got one over on Seth. Now it's up to me. Now I'm going to be the next World Heavyweight Champion, right? CM Punk came in, interrupted, and was like, all right, yeah, whatever. You got lucky. All right. You got a lucky one on me, but it'll never happen again, right? And what did Ellen I say? He said there's a couple of things that are, or a couple of things that is, and one is that I did or is beat Seth Rollins, I is beating you, and I is next. Like he said some shit like that. I don't know. It was kind of funny how he strung it together, but it all flowed when he was. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and you can watch that segment itself. I'm pretty sure they posted it on YouTube. They post everything on YouTube. But that was that promo. We go backstage next to the Kabukis. All right, and we get more screaming garbage Japanese nonsense. All right, that's all these segments are, week after week after week. All right, now. What I will say is that Asuka and Kairi, they're doing their absolute best to make this thing entertaining, and I'm going to give them the credit, right? I'm going to give them that credit. It's just my only issue stems from Triple H putting these two in this position, all right? Because neither of them can speak English very well at all, right? So most of their segments are in all Japanese, and then we just sort of get the gist of it because we get the same thing week after week after week, right? Asuka's yelling at Kairi for something Kairi did wrong, and then Kairi is like, no, but I don't want to do it, and then fucking Asuka smacks her up, fucking, you know what I mean, and then she falls in line, right? That's basically what we've been getting. I'm not, like, I just can't care about this because I don't know the majority of what they say. I don't know 90% of what they're talking about. So it really takes me out of it when there's no subtitles, nothing, right? These are pre-taped, right? These aren't happening live backstage. These are pre-tapes. So the fact that we can't get subtitles or anything is just ridiculous, all right? But we move on because next up after this, because Asuka basically said that, Kairi disappointed her by taking the pin at, what the fuck was it? Crown Stool. And so Kairi now has to have a one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley. Yay, we're continuing this feud. Are you excited? I'm not. All right, so we move on. Rhea Ripley wins this match. That was the match that was up next. I mean, what can you say about it? This is like a fucking 20-30 minute match, man. There was like 4 commercial breaks during this one match, man. And Rhea, obviously, she won this match off of a riptide. And then Asuka attacks Io, who was outside watching the match. And it was funny because Rhea Ripley just watched Io Sky just get tossed into the ring apron or tossed into the ring post. And then finally, like, as soon as Asuka's coming for her, that's when she decides to do something. That's when she kicks Asuka. Is getting ready to, riptide her on the announce table. But Kairi comes in with the kendo stick because Kairi has fallen completely in line. All right. There's nothing more to talk about this segment. We move on. We got Jimmy and Jay backstage, okay? And we get the same thing that we've been getting these last couple of weeks. They are just, bickering a little bit. Jay is saying, Roman doesn't care about us. He's doing his own thing. He's always been doing his own thing. I think we should do our own thing. I'm going to handle my business. You handle your business. Jimmy's like, oh, what? So you think I can't handle Big Bronson Reed? You think I can't handle him? And then Jay's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. He's like, all right, well, you handle your business, oos, and I'm going to handle my business, oos. All right. And then that was that, right? So now, remember, Jey Uso just said, we're going to handle our own business from now on. I can't afford to go out there, get hurt again, just so I can lose this match tonight, okay? This is a big opportunity for me, all right? After this, we get the match, Jimmy versus Bronson, right? Bronson whips that ass, okay? Because Jimmy's still hurt from last week, right? Jimmy's still hurt from all the shit he's been going through. So he had to wrap on his ribs and all that stuff. And, Bronson Reed just pummeled him, right? Just basically pummeled him. This was like a fucking 15-20 minute straight pummeling. Obviously, Jimmy got some offense in, but this was mostly Bronson Reed. And after this, Bronson Reed ends up winning the match. Braun Breaker comes out, they start beating down Jimmy. Then here comes Jay, who just said that Jimmy has to handle his own shit. Jay comes down, he gets hurt, right? But he does end up fending off Braun, all right? And then after this, Jay tells Jimmy to tighten up. He's like, tighten up. I shouldn't have to come out here and save your ass. Tighten up, right? But you didn't have to, right? Like you like Roman Reigns wouldn't have come out there, right? Roman Reigns would have seen them out there getting their asses whipped and waited till they got backstage to berate him. But, Jay decided to do exactly what he said he wasn't going to do in the exact next segment. It's not like it was a segment and a half, 2 segments, 3 segments. No, they said that in the segment before, and the segment right after, Jay went to help. All right. So that was that. We move on. We got Bayley and Lyra backstage. Lyra saying to Bayley that she doesn't know if she can trust her, and they have to have each other's back tonight if they're gonna win, right? Against the Judgment Day, because whatever, I don't know, I don't understand. All right, the MVP of this entire segment was Bayley's titties. All right, you can say what you want about me. All right, Bayley's titties were the motherfucking main event of this. They were the MVP of this segment. All out there. All right, every single time Bayley breathed in, I was breathing out, baby. You know what I'm talking about? So that was that segment right there. After that, we got Lyra and Bayley versus Judgment Day. I did not care about this match. Roxanne and Raquel, they're just pure jobbers, right? That's just what they are. So Bayley, I guess she has the ability to hulk up when she turns crazy. So that is what it is. That's what ends up happening in this match towards the end of it. She hulks up, she beats up both Roxanne and Raquel, whoops both their asses, and then pins Roxanne Perez in the middle of the ring. And then that's that. After that, we got Seth and the rest of the division backstage. Seth is basically saying how proud he is of everyone again and how far they've come, and he's looking towards the future. He's telling them that we're just about ready to take that next step. Doesn't say what the next step is, but he just says we're just about ready to take that next step. After that, we got Dom, AJ Styles, and Adam Pearce backstage. Some nonsense happens where I guess Adam Pearce is about to have Dom defend his title, but Dom was like, oh, well, the Judgment Day, they haven't defended, Finn and JD, they haven't defended their titles since like fucking 3 months ago. They've been champions for over 100 days. They've only defended once. Again, this is the second or third time that the Judgment Day has been tag team champions, and they've gone 100+ days with 1 or 2 defenses. This is the second time this has happened. The second or third time, if I'm not mistaken, right? So this is just something that Triple H does. He throws the titles on the Judgment Day, and instead of building or edifying the tag team division, around the Judgment Day, he just sits them off in catering. Has them do a bunch of one-on-one pointless ass matches where they lose. Shit's fucking insane, all right? But that's basically what that was. He was like, yeah, they haven't defended their titles. So Adam Pearce was like, oh, that's a great idea. And AJ is like, oh, that's a great idea. Why don't they defend their titles against me and Dragon Lee? So that's what's going to happen next week. I don't care. We move on, all right? Stephanie Vaquer, she comes out. She's getting ready to cut a promo, all right? Because I forget who was that. Jackie Redmond, Kathy Kelly. I don't know which one of these brunette ones it was, but it was one of them, all right? And you know, she calls her out there. Stephanie's like, oh, I'm so proud. Something in Spanish, right? Peruvian Spanish or Chilean Spanish. I forget which one she's from. And, you know, she says some shit and she's like, oh, yes, I'm so blessed because I'm the first person to win 4 championships in 1 year, right? This shit, right? Then here comes Raquel and Roxanne from backstage. Is like, oh, Stefanita, pero why are you so happy? Pero like, these motherfuckers just lost. Why are they like why are they here right now? They just lost. They should be backstage fucking game planning. You know what I'm saying? They should not be out here fucking trying to have a match with the fucking world heavyweight champion. But Roxanne Perez, she basically says she was the last one before Stephanie to pin Io, so it should have been her in that position to win the world heavyweight championship and win the crown jewel championship. So they're trying to build up hype for this match, but the audience just doesn't care. You literally just had Roxanne a fucking segment and a half ago, 2 segments ago in her match. She just got her ass whooped by Bayley. Her and Raquel, both of them got their asses whooped by Bayley. By herself, right? By her fucking self. And then now we're supposed to be excited for a match between Roxanne Perez and fucking Stephanie Vaquer when all Roxanne Perez has done since coming into the main roster on WWE, all she's done is lose. She has lost 90% of her matches. But I'm supposed to be excited. Australia is supposed to be excited for this. Get the fuck out of here, man. After that, we got the main event. All right. This match, I feel like I've seen this match like 5 times at this point. Shit's just insane, okay? All we get are number 1 contenders matches in the main event these days. It's either a number 1 contenders triple threat match between 3 faces in Jay, LA, and fucking CM Punk, or it's a tag team match between the Bronze and either Jay and LA and CM and Jay. It doesn't matter. It's just a combination of those people. But they're always going to be in the main event. I don't have a problem with main eventers always being in the main event, but can we switch up the fucking main events from time to time? Can we do that? You know what I mean? Can we do that? Anyways, obviously, Jay was injured from earlier, so that was going to tell you everything you needed to know about the rest of the night, or about his match later on in the night, I should say. So Jay had to take the pin here. All right, CM Punk pins him. CM Punk standing tall. The Vision comes out. They dominate. We've seen this time and time again. All right, they're standing tall. They're looking at the hard cam, right? They're doing their thing. Seth Rollins, he hands off his championship or whatever. I forget how exactly it happened. I think he was waiver. He picked up his championship, and then Braun Breaker, standing at the edge of the ring, he just spears the absolute shit out of Seth Rollins. Just spears the dog shit out of Seth Rollins. Looked like it hurt. Looked like it hurt a lot. All right. And Seth Rollins, he's on the floor, he's writhing in pain, right? And Braun Breaker, he's doing this Braun Breaker, this was great. This was a masterclass by Braun Breaker. I'm giving none of the credit to Triple H, and I'm giving it all to Braun Breaker right here, because he controlled this segment with a kind of maturity that you just don't see in superstars these days, right? Boom. Spears Seth Rollins, lets it breathe. He's staring down at Seth Rollins, doesn't say a word. He's just staring down at him. The audience behind him is freaking out, but he's cool, he's calm, he's composed. All right, and he gives it just a few seconds so we can breathe. Like, holy fuck, what just happened, right? And then he stands up, he looks over at Bronson Reed, he walks up to him, he's like, all right, man, it is what it is. You either with him or you with me. Make your decision right now. Bronson Reed, he takes about 2.5 seconds to make his decision, looks down at Seth Rollins and drags his ass over into the corner, hits him with a tsunami, right? And then Braun walks up to Paul Heyman and says, hey, Paul, So what you want to do? You see what I just did? You see what we just did to Seth? You want to be with that guy over there, lay it out, or are you trying to come with us? Paul Heyman took absolutely no time. He held up Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker's hands so fucking fast. Braun Breaker grabs the World Heavyweight Champion, raises it up, and now they stare at the hard cam, and the show goes off the air. Now that's how you end a fucking show. That's how you end a fucking show. That's how you end a WWE show. With a cliffhanger, damn it. You know what I'm saying? Now I want to see where they go next week. Do I expect anything spectacular next week? Not really. All right. It's just the kind of era that we're in. We get a big moment like this, and then afterwards, there's just no follow-up. That's just how this usually works. So I'm not excited for next week in that sense, but I am on my toes. I'm ready for what they have next. I'm hoping that is another, explosive development next week. Every single week, there should be an explosive development. We should not be going through multiple weeks on end of just filler garbage, okay? But that's not what this show was. The show was 95% garbage. And then at the end, they really tied it together. Braun Breaker, I'm giving all the credit to Braun Breaker. All right, I'm not giving any credit to Triple H, okay? Because Triple H put together one of the worst factions in the history of WWE. All right, he tried to make it work, but it's been very obvious for the last 5 months that this shit is just not going to work, right? There's too many inconsistencies, right? They're not telling us enough, right? There's no clear plan in mind here. So it just wasn't going to work from the beginning. So I am going to give credit to Triple H on this end that he just went ahead and hit the detonate, all right? He hamdallah, all right? He hit the Allahu Akbar on this motherfucker, on this motherfucking segment, or on this motherfucking faction. So I'm going to give him credit there. But as far as putting together this faction, it's garbage. So this had to happen sooner rather than later, regardless. I'm just glad it happened today, okay? So that's how I felt about this show. I'm probably going to give this show a 3 out of 10. Yeah, I'll give it a 3 out of 10. I think the ending of the show really did well, but 95% of the show was filler garbage. 95% of the show, 25-minute matches with 3-4 commercial breaks in these matches. This is unacceptable. This is still unacceptable. So you can't give me one great angle and expect a 5, 6, 7 out of 10. You know what I mean? But if you can give me a couple angles throughout the night, right? If you can make sure that every single show, just like tonight, it starts at the beginning and it wraps up at the end, right? It carries through the night and wraps up at the end. If you can give me that on a consistent basis, we might start seeing 4, 5s, and 6s out of these motherfuckers. So, but hey, this is Triple H's era. So we're not going to get too excited, right? We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves. We learned our lesson a long time ago when it comes to that. So let me know what y'all thought about this show down in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to hear some more. And this has been your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.